98.1 KZE. Good morning. This is the Up and Running Morning Show. I'm Rick, your host, and joining us now live on the telephone is our good friend Graham Parker. Good morning, Graham. How are you?
Hello, Rick. Very well, thank you. Amazingly, after being on tour. Some hectic stuff, as always, but that's okay. Comes with the program.
Yeah, I guess you never get used to it, do you?
Not really, no.
Well, we have been lucky enough to let folks know that you're going to be performing at Daryl's house, and we're looking forward to the show. Now, Graham, we just played Head On Straight from the great album that came out in 2010, Imaginary Television. You take an amazing kazoo solo in the song.
Yeah, there's a few people who are extremely annoyed when they see me on stage with a kazoo. Thankfully, I'm not doing that on this tour. I've left the kazoo numbers out, but there's a number I do it on, actually. I use the kazoo on, and it pops up on a few records.
Yeah, I think it's really an underrated instrument.
Yeah, it is. There's a kazoo orchestra. When I reformed the Rumor, and we were touring in whenever it was 2012, I think. We made two albums, and a kazoo appeared on one of them. And one night when we were going on stage at a packed out theatre in London, the band had on the music sort of just before we go on stage. They'd worked with our sound engineer and said, "Play this before we go on." It was a kazoo orchestra. That's quite disturbing, really. They sound, but
I'm sure
there's a lot of varieties as well. You can get a huge collection if you're not careful.
Yeah, well, could you imagine an accordion orchestra?
Oh, God, there must be such a thing. There was an act in England called the Portsmouth Sinfonia.
Huh?
Maybe they're still going. Their members will keep changing as they got better at what they were doing, because they were terrible. They were sort of students, and they weren't very good. And that was the idea. They do like classics and movie theme music, Star Wars or something. And John Peel used to play them, actually, the great DJ on Radio 1, who was floated his own boat on a very confining kind of station in the evening and he was playing a Gregorian chants for a bit. And people were saying, "Oh, well, he's great, but I wish he'd play some pop music now and again." But he would feature the Portsmouth Symphonium, the unholy racket.
Well, there's a place and a time for everything.
That's right. Yeah.
So, Graham, let's rewind again. So after Imaginary Television came out, you got the Rumor back together. A bunch of things happened. You were in films. You were visiting us here at KZE and a whole bunch of other great things. But a whole lot happened, and the Rumor went out on tour. And how'd that go, Graham? Was that a great time? Or, now you're solo, so that's why I'm asking.
It was an expensive time, I'll tell you that. As soon as I called them all up, on some kind of an accident, really, or emailed them all, and they all said yes, I thought, oh, no, this is going to cost me. But, it was an astonishing time, really, because I'd done that, and a week later, the writer, director, comedian, Judd Apatow got hold of me via my publishing company, who also with a record became a record company and put out the Three Chords Good, our first reunion album. And I went to meet him, and he was in New York City. I went to meet him, and he started talking about this film where there might be a part for me. And then suddenly I'm in it, and I called up the Rumor guys and said, we're not just reforming, we're all going to Hollywood, because I told Judd, well, if you're going to put me in it, why don't you put the Rumor in? I've just reformed them. And he said, oh, okay. And so they got a shot in it as well. We do some sort of three days of live stuff in a giant theatre with a half full audience, because I had to play the guy who destroys the record company that features, and because he was signing acts from the 70s and 80s and 90s, like Frank Black without the Pixies, you know. And I think they had Haircut 100, and they thought, of course, they're not doing well, you know, obviously, and nor did I on the label on Filtered Records. So that I sort of made it all go south, really, which it was great fun. So we did, and then we were touring, and that was it. You know, we did 3 years of it, actually, more than 3 years. We were actually together longer than we were in the original period. And we did 3 tours of the UK and 3 in America, and it was unbelievable. It was just great, you know.
Yeah.
And I never saw it coming, and swore blind I'd never do this again with the rumor. And there it was in front of me, and I was like, gulp. Okay, and you know, we had a fabulous time.
So now,
Really
fast forward a little bit, and here we are in 2023. We had a little weird time to get through, and that affected touring venues and everything else in between. And now you're back and you're solo. And do you have any new stuff coming out, Graham? We love you, and we want to hear some new stuff.
Well, that's very nice. Yes, as a matter of fact, finally I got around to doing a record after all this disruption.
Okay.
You know, because I got a bit. I was kind of enjoying it a bit. This is great. I don't have to do anything. And then, but I kept, you know, there's always something I'm working on. There's usually something in the pipeline. And I had some songs and lots of bits of songs, and I couldn't pull the trigger on them because of the general, you know, the general sort of nothingness of COVID.
Yeah, the
know?
malaise of just
it was a malaise, yeah. It was a malaise, and I was enjoying it quite a lot, actually. I managed, you know, I was in London when it hit, and the weather, it was the best spring on record. The weather was beautiful. You could, the air didn't smell of pollution, and there was a lot of very good things, but of course we're never going to learn from anything. That's the human race, you know. So we, you know, back to normal, and I actually got into America, you know, because there was no flights and things. But you know, I got one in June and came over for 4 months and did absolutely nothing, which was also great. But finally, I kicked myself up, and I got a new album coming out in September.
All right.
And there'll be a single from it actually in summer. And when you hear it, I hope it gets to you. It's got it's a theme for summer, specifically around July the 4th.
All right.
Time, and it's a novelty song. You have to have one in your career.
Okay.
It's highly comedic, I think, and it's with a fabulous groove. So that should be coming out around June with luck. We got the sort of just a digital thing with a spare track that isn't on the album, and the album will be released in September, hopefully early September.
Any working title?
Well, they've just I've just signed with this label over here called Big Stir Records. Okay. And they are a really exciting label from Los Angeles. And they just announced it on Twitter, so there it is.
Okay.
It's like I really dislike this modern way of
announcing,
starting to pump an album all this time before. I really dislike it.
Well,
but
it
that's
called?
The way they do it, you know?
Yeah. And what's it called, Graham?
It's called Last Chance to Learn the Twist.
Ah, okay.
People, I'm sure people are going, what's
that? You know, the
Look
twist.
Look it up. It's a dance. Look it up.
It's way cooler than the Macarena.
Yeah, it is. Last Chance to Learn the Macarena. You know, that may be the follow-up.
Okay. Graham, we're really looking forward to your appearance. It's going to be at Daryl's house in Pauling. Saturday night, it's an 8 o'clock show. Tickets and info at darylshouseclub.com. Graham, what do you got in store for the people?
Well, the usual mixed up stuff, early stuff. I think I'm starting with something from Heat Treatment and a song from my first record, Howling Wind. And then I'm all over the place. There's also going to be a reissue by Iconoclastic Records. They reissued my album, Another Grey Area, last year.
Oh.
and they had some good success with it actually,
Oh, cool.
and they're going to be putting Acid Bubblegum out on that came out in '96. In fact, I recorded it at Dreamland in Hurley.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's it's going to be on vinyl, and it wasn't on vinyl then because around that period people didn't. They were no. I talked to the record company I was in there, and I said, it's going to come back in some way. Why don't we do vinyl? But they weren't buying it, and now of course everyone's going to have vinyl, and everyone's vying for space at vinyl plants all over the world.
There's a backup.
Which
yeah,
that's everything slowed down. So they announced a record in May, and it's coming out in September. By the time September comes, everyone will be used to the fact that an album's coming out and forgotten about it. I used to like the days when you heard a track on radio, and
you
then
can go out and buy
the
it.
announcement. Yeah, and the record came out a week later.
Yeah.
That was the way it was. But and now we're in the internet age. I don't see why we can't do that. Get it out instantly, just like 2 weeks before the record comes out. That'd be more like it. But that's not the way it's done. People feel as though they've got to do all this prep work for what? I don't know. It's only they're indie labels. They haven't got any money. What are they? Why is this? But there it is. I'm stuck with it. So it's already announced on Twitter.
All right.
So follow me on at It's Graham Parker. That's where all the best jokes are.
All right. Well, thanks, Graham. And we are looking forward to the new album when it comes, and we can't wait for that cool single that you told us about. Last chance to learn the twist.
That's the album title. Yes,
All
I'm doing a couple of songs of it on stage. That's for sure.
Cool.
Because I realised I might as well.
All right.
Everybody's going to know who knows about me that there's a record coming out before they forget about it. So I'm doing a couple of those. Doing something from Squeezing Out Sparks and a variety, the usual variety,
cool.
And
just you solo then too. Just
what's that?
Just Graham Parker solo.
Yep, that's me. Yeah, and I played Daryl's house before in the same format. Good venue, of course. It used to be the Town Crier, which is now in Beacon, and I played that a couple of times. So, I'll be there in, 3 days' time, I believe. You got the date in front of you?
Yep. It's this Saturday, 8 o'clock, Daryl's House in Pauling, darylshouseclub.com. And look for Graham Parker online. Stay in touch with him and us, and we'd love to bring you his new stuff. So we can't wait, Graham, and knock 'em dead Saturday night. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and thanks for, making me laugh. I appreciate it.
Things are so chronic, you better have a laugh, right? As the shit goes down, baby.
We need it.
Britain's going down rapidly, and I'm going down with it. Okay, man. That's very nice of you to spare me the time and get the word about the gig out there. That's good. And I'll be in my father's place in Glen Clove, the new My Father's Place, rejuvenated in Glen Clove in Long Island.
Okay.
Tomorrow, actually.
All
right. Daryl's house coming right up.
Saturday night, Daryl's house. Graham Parker, all the best to you. Thanks a lot, and we'll look forward to the new music, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Rick. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's the Up and Running Morning Show on 98.1 KZE. We'll be right back.
The Ulster Performing Arts Center in